All right, it is 6:30. I'm going to call this to order. We are going to record. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to call the August 4th, 2020 regular meeting to order. Is there a flag? Yeah, there's a flag over here. So please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Additions to the agenda, we do have a few. We need to add the tax rate. We also need to see Mr. Tim for some cemetery deeds, and unless there's objection from the board, I would take him before the department and committee report so he can get out of here. He has been here all day. And then I would like to request an executive session for personnel issues.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Perfect. Open public comments on agenda items. Anybody? Anybody? All right. Guests, we have Carrie Amadon. We also have Maggie joining us via Zoom. We have Mary Lynn Sherlin, Seth Deyo, Tim Arsenault, and David Emery. With that, Mr. Johnson, go ahead, please.
Sure. I'll just kind of step up a little bit here. Good evening, Tim Arsenault, Town Clerk. Tonight I present 3 cemetery deeds for your approval and signature. They are for David Miller, Jack and Judy Arnsmeyer, and Phil and Pam Bond.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you. Please sign these. I'll leave them, slide them underneath the window, Sandy, and I'll take care of them in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Good luck with your trees.
And can we have 2 of you people witness it afterwards?
Yeah.
Hi, Brana. We have Brana joining us as well. Brana, we have already started. We did go past the open public comments on agenda items. Do you have anything to chime in with? Otherwise, I'm going to keep moving.
Keep going. I'm
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Emery for a COVID-19 update, please.
Well, good evening, everyone. The COVID-19 updates, fortunately in Vermont, I don't have a great deal to tell you that you don't already know. Nothing's really changed. Vermont still is holding its own and doing very well. As of today, we're at 1,427 actual COVID test cases. 1 in the hospital and 57 deaths. We have increased 1 death since your last report a few weeks ago. Probably the biggest thing that's changed is the governor has made a mandatory face covering or mandatory mask when you're out in public or not in the inside or outside of the building. If you can't keep the 6-foot social distancing, then the mask is required. Having said that, they also are offering a free mask that they're going to pass out. Tim is gone, but he has volunteered to take care of that for me, and so we'll be getting free masks, and we'll come up with a way to make them available to the Vernon residents and to the public. Other than that, the numbers in our sister states and our bordering states, unfortunately, have been growing, and you know they have areas of travel and restrictions on travel. Those areas are growing back in restrictions, and travel are changing as we speak. So as you know, they've color-coded red, green, and da-da-da-da-da, so wherever you go, you can look on the maps and you can tell whether you want to go there or not. And if you do, you may be required to stay the 14-day quarantine. And that changes daily. So if you're going to go to Maine, then you might want to look at Maine in the area you're going. Other than that, Mark Snow is on vacation, and I've had conversations with him today. He doesn't have anything else to add other than what we'd already talked about. Probably one of the things is today's weather. Some of you, I've been updating you with what was predicted, and the storm tracked more to our west, so we ended up with a little more windy day and a little less rain so far. However, till 10 o'clock tonight, there was some pretty good strong winds in Vernon at some points, but I'm not aware of any complicators right now. There was a couple of active tornado warnings for Vernon that came out in the Windham County area, but nothing that was confirmed nor anything else like that. So with that, I know Seth will give you a report on how the recreation department's doing, and the school will, they've got their own issues that they'll be dealing with, and we'll be hearing from them shortly. So other than that, I don't have anything else to report. Any questions or?
Questions from the board? Michael?
No, thanks.
Sandy? Jeff?
No, thank you.
Questions from the audience? Zoom audience, I see some heads. Perfect. All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Seth, floor is all yours.
Sure, I'll come up here, I guess. I guess first I'd like to take an opportunity, this opportunity to publicly kind of thank my seasonal staff. It's, obviously been a unique situation, and they have stepped up, as I expected them to, but they certainly have done that with all the extra cleaning and just the policies and procedures. They've been on point the whole summer and made a really tough situation just a little bit easier by their efforts. So I want to make sure that the town understands just how hard they're working and how much I certainly appreciate that. From a total department standpoint, we're a little bit in a holding pattern in some respects because the fall is going to kind of creep in here, and we'd like to be making some decisions and some plans. And until we have a good idea of what the school is going to look like, it's tough for us to kind of make too many plans. Right now with school being delayed till September 8th start potentially. We're looking at some extra childcare measures and things like that parents and families are going to need. I think that's going to be a real concern for a lot of local families. So we're looking at how we might be able to meet that need, and still do it in a safe way. So once we have an idea of kind of what that looks like, we'll start to make some plans in that regard. As far as the pool in the summer goes right now, it's unique, it's different, it's hard, I guess it's really kind of hard to explain in that regard, but people have been really respectful, understanding the social distancing and understanding the new mask mandate. That was kind of a change, as far as, kind of how the mandate, everybody kind of had their own choice, and if they wanted to wear one previously, and we, while we recommended them, we didn't require them because that couldn't be done. And now we do require them, except for in the swimming pool, and people have been really understanding, and we've been appreciative of that. So, I'm just trying to think if there's any other, since the last time we've talked, if there's any other significant, changes at this point. Probably not. Like I said, we're kind of just in a little bit of a holding pattern here. So,
What's your scheduled close date for the pool?
to be determined.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So yeah, a lot of that generally depends on staffing, essentially. Right now, it'll probably be sometime, maybe August 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in that ballpark is what we're thinking. My staffing is changing daily as their college, schedules are changing daily. So again, it's kind of that, let's go ahead and make some decisions. Oh, now we got to reel that back in and change that to say, and that's certainly one of the more challenging aspects of this whole thing is you put a lot of time and effort into trying to make the right decision, and 3-4 days later, it's all for naught. So, that's the goal anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Seth, Michael,
Thank
Sandy?
you, staff.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Anybody, audience? Nothing? Seth, I would back that up for sure. That I've been there a couple of times, and your staff is always busting hump. They're mowing lawns, they're moving stuff around. Those kids are always with somebody.
Yep.
Great job, man.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Appreciate it very much, guys.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I did have one more thing I wanted to mention is not only thank Seth, but he has been awesome with this whole thing, and he's had a tough position to follow. However, we really need to get the word out to the Vernon and the people in Vermont. VT Alert is out there. It's easy to sign up on your phone or on a computer, and it'll give you fair warning about not only the COVID, but weather changes on a daily basis. I strongly urge, and you can sign up for specifics. You can sign up for only weather. You can sign up for COVID notice. You can sign up, and if you have friends up in Vermont, northern Vermont, you can sign up for specific areas. Unlike the old VY thing when you got everything, this is really working well. So I encourage everyone, vtalert.com, and it's secure, and I promise you, you won't regret it. So,
Could you send a request to Martin and ask him if he would publish that? So we can
can.
get that out?
That'd probably be a great idea.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
All right, approval of previous minutes, which we have about 18,000 of those to go through.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve the minutes as written, with the exception of May 5th and June 16th.
Could I get a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the meeting minutes with the exception of
May 5th
May 5th
and June
and
16th.
June 16th. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
On May 5th, it's Rich. Rich's name, last name is Melanson. It wasn't on there, or Melanson, whatever. His name needs to be complete. And then on from page 2, starting with open public comments through the end of the minutes, that's from another minutes, so that needs to be removed.
Okay.
Okay. On June 16th, under David Emery, first page, if the select board room was measured and 5 select board members can meet with 6 feet distancing, 8 to 9 could go into the room with the select board. The next part, 25 is still the magic number, but that should be increased to 50 in the near future. We need to clarify, that's not for the select board room, that's for public meetings.
Mhm.
And that's all I have.
So a motion to accept those with corrections?
I move that we accept them with those corrections.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Dunkley to accept the June 16 and May 5th meeting minutes with corrections. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Oh boy, we don't have Gene tonight. All right, so I will make a motion that we accept bills and warrants for 3T accounts payable, $66,295.05. 29S payroll, $9,637.66. 30S payroll, $10,186.02.
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept the bills and warrants. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I feel like I'm unorganized with all these papers here. New business. Maggie, do you want to speak to the training for all EMS, or are we waiting for some information there?
Muted.
You're muted.
I'm speaking to a gentleman from NAMI, which is an organization that helps train. Well, they're actually an organization that deals with a lot of mental disorders and mental disorder awareness, and they are willing to offer. They offer a lot of different classes. And so our EMS about receiving some more training about personnel training for PTSD, crisis response, and possibly setting up a specific crisis response team. And so I'm going to be working with NAMI to come down and work with anyone in the community aside from just our firefighters that would be interested in receiving that training.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And then we also have the Vermont Trans Bicycle Pedestrian Program. Is there anything to speak of on that? I know that you included it in our packets. Anything that we should be aware of, or was that informative mostly?
I just provided that because that was that's a grant that we could sorry about my voice, guys. That's a grant
Okay.
that we could you can do with that what you want.
Okay, so I was looking over that, and I mean, there's some things in there that we've discussed primarily in the recreation department or in that vicinity, just safety issues, things like that. So there is pedestrian signals, pedestrian crossing improvements, things like that. So, I mean, my first thought was the crosswalk down here at the school, as well as your crosswalk up there. If there's grant money for it, you know, I'm trying to think, right out in front of the Brattleboro retreat, you push the button, the sign starts flashing, and then you cross, and it shuts off, whatever, 15 seconds later. So those are the only two crosswalks that we have in town. So I thought that that might be a decent place to go. I know Denny is usually our crossing guard, but if there's money out there for some increased safety measures, then I think that we should take a look at that. So I'm on board with looking at this. Does the select board have any questions about this?
I think it's great.
No.
All right. So moving on.
Do we need to do something to apply?
I mean, at this point, Maggie, I think we just need to do a little bit more research on that and figure out what fits in with the town, and then we could make a decision on whether we apply. There's no decision needed at this point, is there?
September
No
30th.
decision.
It says work with your regional planning commission.
Right.
So
Which we are actually working with them right now. They just completed the traffic study for Pond Road, Franklin Road, and Tyler Hill Road. We should have that information. Maggie should have that information by the end of next week. I spoke with him yesterday. So that'll be a great time to kind of lump these together, Maggie, that and this grant here, and see what we could come up with.
should we get somebody to attend this training that's on the 11th next week?
Maggie, are you available for that training on the 11th with them?
11th and 12th.
Reservations are not required. Blah, blah, blah.
Maggie, we didn't hear you.
What time and what training are you referring to?
It's on the back of this
It's a grant program.
grant. If you don't,
One's at 5:30 and one's at 1 o'clock. August 11th at 1 p.m. to 2:30, and August 12th, 5:30 to 7, and it's online.
I could do the 1 p.m. on August 11th.
okay, perfect. It says no registration needed, and it gives you the address to chime in. Oh, I skipped over in new business. We need to go back and do the tax rates. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we set the 2020 to 2021 tax rate as follows. The municipal tax rate 0.5092, local agreement 0.0025, homestead tax rate 1.4931, non-residential tax rate 1.5582 for a total homestead tax rate of 2.0048 and a total non-residential tax rate is 2.0699. And according to Cindy, that's approximately $38.40 more per 100,000 assessed value.
All those in favor, oh, I'm sorry, I need a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Perfect. I'm trying to decide if we should do that executive session now or do the, I think that we should do that now on personnel issues.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we go into executive session for discussion of consideration of records or documents. Is that it? Or personnel?
Sure.
No, I'm sorry. Executive session on the evaluation of public officer or employee. 1 VSA 3133A3.
Second. Moved and seconded by Mr. Dunkley. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Is that the only one you need to do?
That's the only one we need to do.
All right.
that.
We are in executive session. We are going to just step into the select board room and do the executive session in there. I think that'll be easier for everybody involved. We went into executive session at 6:52. We came out at 7:52. No action was taken. I need to start recording again here. All right. So under old business, solid waste committee follow-up discussion, we are going to table that on the grounds that we would like to wait for the solid waste to have a meeting as well as seek some legal counsel. Ultimately, the select board just cannot justify increasing the amount of those compost dumpsters, $7,000 a year out of tax money without making sure that one, that program is actually legal to be there, and two, without permission from the town. So we are going to table that. Old business, letter B, follow up on compensatory time discussion. Again, that is going to be tabled while we seek legal counsel. I do know that Cindy is upstairs awaiting a phone call from us. We will either call her or
257.
She came down once.
she did.
257-3077. Or you just go to the call there.
257, what was it?
3077.
Not gonna give any service down here.
She used the phone in the other room.
This
like you
is the
said.
phone on the wall. What is her extension?
That one.
Yeah,
What was it? 0?
no, just dial it.
No, 257.
3077.
3077.
3077.
Zero is the number. O is the letter.
Yes, mother.
Treasurer's office, this is Cindy.
Hi Cindy, it's Chris. How are you?
I'm good, how are you, Chris?
I'm good. After having a brief executive session, we are going to have to table this until the 18th, which is what we had discussed at the last meeting anyway. It is actually in the minutes that we were going to have to table this until the 18th. There's a few more questions that we need some answers to, so we do appreciate you coming and being willing to speak to us this evening, but we do not feel that we are able to make a decision this evening.
Okay.
So I will send an email with the additional information, but, we are gonna have to seek some legal counsel as well.
Okay,
Okay?
that's something. Did you guys set the tax rate?
We did, yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, thank you, Cindy.
Good evening.
You too, bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that one's done. Town common area, actually, we could, are you here for the, where are we? Clarification of report. Would you like to get out of here, or are you hanging out until the end? Perfect.
You had a brief executive session, but brief means concise or of short duration. I just wanted
It was very concise.
Yeah, it was shortish. As long as you put ish at the end of it, everything is fine.
Okay,
All right.
carry on.
All right. Town common area is the gazebo and the memorial. We had discussed this 2 or 4 weeks ago. There were some pictures of the memorial and also the gazebo out there. I know that Maggie had spoken with Heather Frost. We had also discussed that as a board previously, just having her take a look at it. So I walked around over there with her yesterday. We agreed that the cleanup for the memorial was fairly simple. That's just a matter of pruning those shrubs that are out there and visiting it 2 to 3 times a year to kind of fluff up the mulch and things like that. The gazebo garden, we had a few thoughts on that. One is that we spend the money and we pay somebody to stand out there a couple of times a year and take care of that and mulch it and do all of that happy stuff. My personal favorite idea is that we rip out the shrubs that are by the entrance because they cannot be pruned back any further to allow entrance into that without actually killing those sides of the shrubs. There's also 2 evergreen shrubs in front of those that have died, which will leave a unsightly bare spot in those shrubs. If we were to kindly ask Mr. Walker to rip those out with an excavator and move some of the plants that are in that garden and create a smaller garden and turn the rest of that garden area back into grass, it would be considerably less maintenance going forward. And hopefully we would be able to get her to just maintain that smaller area. What's happening now is the paint on that gazebo is chipping. There's mildew growing on it from all of the plants being too close to it. So I don't know what the board wants. Heather did take time to just write up what she thought it would take for her to be able to do this, which you guys all have with your packets. I think you got one, Jeff. Maybe actually it's that piece right there on top. So I don't know what the board's wishes are, whether we want to actually put that out to bid to a gardening whatever, or if we want to entertain Heather's idea on that. Ultimately, I don't think that we can continue to let it go the way that it is. I don't feel it's fair to the previous residents that put their money into that, and we've just let it kind of, I shouldn't say we, over the years it has gotten less and less attention and less use, but I still don't think we should just allow that to fall apart over there.
I agree.
Thoughts, Michael?
I thought we already agreed to put it out in case other people in town wanted the option.
And we did discuss that. We just weren't sure what all was entailed in that. So that's why when I saw Heather over there, I had stopped and asked her.
I think we should put it
Okay. So we will move forward with putting that whole area out to bid. Maggie, you all right with that?
Yes, if that's what the board is voting to do, the reason that I contacted Heather is because she's already doing the History Museum and the 2 town signs, and so the price that she's able to do these other things for is going to be considerably less. After speaking with the Carol from the History Committee, she told me that when they put the History Museum out to bid, that no one came within anywhere near what Heather bid it for. And so that's why I asked Heather if she could give us a bid to just add this into what she's already doing. And she also said that several of the people that she put out asking for bids on the History Museum said that that was too small of a project. So the memorial is an even smaller project than what she put out for bid requests. So my concern is that we won't get bid requests for this project. We can certainly put it out to bid, but I don't know that we will get responses. And in that meantime, this area is definitely gonna get worse. So please keep that in mind.
Understood, I just rather make sure if somebody else wants to in the town, gets the option, that's my only thing. If we don't give other people the option and it looks bad enough, we're giving it to somebody because they're already doing it. That's why I agreed last meeting, I thought, to put it out to anybody.
So in order for us to put that out to bid, we would have to decide what we want to happen over there. We're going to get 3 or 4 different types of bids. So with that in mind, Heather had sent an email saying that she did not entirely agree with removing all of the flowers because of the way that would look coming down Governor Hunt Road. So I came down Governor Hunt Road and took a picture of that today, and you can't really see anything because there's 3 giant trees blocking it. So I'm not entirely sure. So I don't agree with that. I had originally said that the historians do a mum sale, I believe at the end of this month. So because the historians took a hit this year, if they wanted to sell some of those plants that were over there that we were not going to be able to use, if they wanted to open it up that people could come and take some by donation to try and recoup some of their loss for this year, that I didn't know if that was an option, but trying to control how much it would cost to have things removed and cleaned up over there, and rather than, again, that's money that this town has spent previously, so for us to just rip it out and throw it in the back of somebody's truck seems careless to me. Michael, what do you think we should be talking about doing over there if we want to put it out to bid?
I think we should clean it up and then put it out to bid to maintain it.
So keep all of the garden that's there, the flowers, the shrubs.
It just said clean it up and then put it out to bid to maintain it. I don't know. I haven't looked at it to know what needs to be done.
Sandy?
I think we could almost set our bid work to be done on her estimate here. Because it's very well written. And I like the idea of offering the plants to the historians.
So if we base the bid off from what she has written here, she's saying to rehab the garden, so essentially leave everything there. Some new perennials would be added, bushes at entrance if remain to be trimmed. So, I mean, we need to decide if those shrubs are gonna have to come out of there. And whether we want that entire garden to stay. I guess my thought was that if we were to remove the garden that surrounded the gazebo, it's not as much of a yearly upkeep.
I agree.
And it would just be grass around 3/4 of that, and then right by the front steps, those shrubs would be gone, and we would take some of the existing plants, make a smaller round garden there that was easier to maintain, and the lawn would be easier to mow around that. We could certainly keep what she has written here. We just need to make sure we're on the same page as to what the end expectation would be. Jeff, your thoughts?
I'm not really familiar with the area, so I'd hesitate to express my opinion.
Okay. Even if we put this out to bid, it's nothing that we're really gonna act on until next year. So I would say that if the board could take 2 seconds over the next week and a half and stop over there, just walk once around the memorial and the gazebo, wrap your head around that, and then we will put this on the agenda for next month, or I'm sorry, next meeting. Perfect. Public participation on non-agenda items.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
May I?
Yep.
Oh, thank you. I would like to know if you would like regular, like once a month updates on what the Deerfield Valley Communications Union District is, what the progress is and what we're doing. And I'm willing, like, we don't meet as the governing board, which Munson is on as a voting member, will not meet until the 19th. But I'm on the communications team, and we are, one of the things we're doing press releases on progress that, with vendors and things like that. And they're going to be going, that information is going to be going out to the Reformer and the Commons and newspapers of record. We also want to create in towns that don't have them, like Vernon, ask for volunteers to form a broadband committee. And so we have written up a little blurb to put in the community newsletter in the beginning of September. But I was just wondering, I'd be willing, or I could talk to Munson about coming once a month or quite regularly to let you know what's going on, if that's agreeable with you.
We added to that email list we already have with the updates to you and Maggie.
Maggie, should that be included in the committee communications that we're getting from the minutes and the agendas and all that stuff? Would that correspondence fit into that?
Yes, I can add that to the correspondence once a month if you'd like that to be added.
No, I'm asking if you think that Brana and Munson should be emailing us the same updates or what's going on the same way that other committees in town are emailing with what they've been doing.
Oh, yes. Sorry, didn't quite track what you were saying. Yes, that's what it was. Yes, since they are a committee representing the town, I mean, I think anytime we have anybody representing the town, that would be the best thing to do. Just full disclosure, if Brana or Munson could send the minutes and agenda for any meeting they attend to me, I can forward it to all of you, and then that will provide the update. And if there's any report that needs to give an update that isn't being put in the Facebook or town newsletter, that is of vital importance, so that they could set an agenda item with us on the meeting.
Okay.
Well, like I meet once a week with the communications committee. That's a subcommittee. That's a committee of the district. This is not a town. This is a little different than a town committee. We are liaisons. We are appointed to this communications district, which is a municipality. It is not the town.
So
I mean, tomorrow I'll meet with the communications. Today the subcommittee of the communications team. You want agendas and minutes from all those meetings?
Brana, I think for what you're dealing with and Munson being a part of that if we were to get a monthly email update, just kind of overviewing everything that has happened over the month, things that are coming, and that way, and then at that point, if we needed more information, we could reach out, we could put you on the agenda. We could certainly do it that way, if that works for you.
All right.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that will work.
Okay. Anybody else? Carrie, I see you're hanging out with us. Did you have anything here?
Sorry, it takes me a minute to unmute.
That's
No, I had a school board meeting scheduled for tonight and it got canceled due to the power outage in Brattleboro. And I didn't know what to do without a Zoom meeting tonight, so I joined you. How pathetic was that?
Well, all
Okay,
right
I'll
then.
give the award for most pathetic tonight. I will take it.
Well, we're glad to have you with us. That's great.
Well, thank you.
Correspondence, Southeastern Vermont Economic Development Strategies Available Programs. Maggie, do you feel like speaking to any of this? You sound like you're, No, okay. The Vermont State Police letter, I believe that was in everybody's packet. If you haven't read it, please read it. If you have anything for Mr. French or his department, please feel free to send him an email with whatever your thoughts, wishes, desires are. Everybody also has the new list. However, there is some things that are needing to be changed, so we should probably take a look at that at some point, and if anybody sees something that needs to be corrected, changed, taken out, whatever, we can get that information over to Maggie and take care of that. Clarification of reporting requests via the Delinquent Tax Collector, the town admin report. I don't know if you want to speak on that or if Maggie's speaking on that. Well, I don't know, you're here.
I asked a question and then my name is on here. You know I don't like being talked about if I'm not present, so.
Well, if you knew how much I talk behind your back, Mary Lynn.
I do. My name is still on the top. And I knew you all missed me, so. that's-
Yeah, well, it's been a while.
Okay.
Maggie, do you have anything on that?
And I can speak for myself.
I got the email asking for clarification when we were asking for reports from everybody, how you wanted that report, if you wanted it quarterly or how often, and then that wasn't a conversation that could be clarified via email because it required comment from all board members, so it's something that had to be put on the agenda. So here you are, speak about it.
So I guess my question is, to start with, if it says you want a monthly report or quarterly report, the quarter closes out. So are we working on a town year or a calendar year, but the quarter closes out? Do you want the report the 5th of the month after it closes out? Do you want it by the 15th? Do you want it, I don't care.
What works for you, Mary Lynn?
No, I'm just
No,
saying,
I'm
do you
asking-
want something uniform or do you want? And then I wasn't clear on when the email originally went out, if it said treasurer/collector, if collector meant me or it meant Cindy as collector of current taxes. If that was the case, then I'm not even on here, and Okay.
Is that email from Maggie or is that one from Tom?
it was a repeat of Tom's.
Okay. So this all came about because the select board had been left in the dark for a lot of things, and that's not tax, I mean, that's just the town as a whole. So it was brought to my attention that previously all committees, department heads, everybody reported on some type of a basis to the select board so that they were aware what was going on. They knew of upcoming meetings so that they could be a part of that if they wanted, and somewhere along the line that had just stopped. So I don't think that this is a, we're trying to beat anybody up over it. And I'm not taking what you're saying that way at
I'm
all.
just trying to, if I'm supposed
Right.
to do something,
So that's what I'm saying is that if there's a time that makes more sense because of the way your quarter closes out, then let's work within
I
that.
wanna make sure that if I'm supposed to be doing something, I'm doing it.
Right, and that's appreciated. So I guess I'm just, what makes the most sense for you with, given the dates that those close out, what's a realistic time that we would get an update? And then I think that we would accept that unless somebody else objects to that.
I mean, I give a official monthly report of all delinquent taxes. I usually have it, I mean, kinda depends on when the first of the month is, that date, and then wait for mail. So usually by the 6th of the month, kinda depending upon when that first falls, usually Tim has my report for recording by 5th, 6th of the month.
Perfect. So if you send that same report to Maggie, she can get it over to the rest of the board at the same time. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
'Cause I-
Yeah, nobody's trying to beat it, we just wanna make sure that we're all on the same page. So I mean, if you were to say that I can't do that until the 15th of the month, then the 15th it is.
Usually that's when I turn, Cindy has a working copy, so she can update whatever she needs to. Tim has the official one that goes in the town records.
Yeah, I would say whenever you send it to Tim, just throw Maggie's name on there too, and then,
And I can just send her,
yeah,
send her a copy.
and then we're good.
And then whatever else, I usually brief the board on.
Yeah, yep, no, you come and let us know if something else is askew,
Okay.
and we can certainly gain all of the other information from Cindy as needed as well. So, yeah, if you send that to Tim, I think, unless the board objects, I think that would be perfect. Okay.
And Cindy doesn't have any of the delinquent tax.
No, I just meant as far as any of the other financial nonsense that we could go that way. Upcoming meetings, we have Tuesday, August 18th, Tuesday, September 1st, Tuesday, September 15th. That is all that we have here tonight, folks. Carrie, I am very sorry that we're about to end your fun evening of hanging out in the Zoom world, but I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Dunkley to get out of here. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.